this country is at war with Germany.
We had to do a job, and we did the job, and that was it.
The men had to go and fight, and the women had to take their place.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the Great Crusade.
So hello and welcome back to another episode of Foxhole Chat. Today we're going to be talking about the British home front. So all the troops went off to fight, which left the rest of everybody at home, and they certainly did their bit for the war effort. I don't know where to start. So much happened, and there was so much to talk about.
Yeah, there really is, isn't there?
Let's start with shelters. So there was Morrison shelters. So they're literally a wooden structure with a bit of netting that you could use as a dining room table, and you basically slept under it.
Yeah.
So if a bomb went off and your house basically caved in, you had some protection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I thought was quite an interesting invention.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, any protection from a bomb is good, right? As rudimental and as crude as that. And I think, like, right off the bat, you got to think about how crazy this all must have been for people, but in Britain and England and Wales and Scotland, because nothing like this has ever happened before. So yeah, to be told, oh, you need to hide under your dining room table, must have been a bit of a shock.
Yes, but there's also air raid shelters, public and private ones. So there was Anderson shelters, which you could dig in the bottom of your garden, and public air raid shelters. There's quite a few of those left near me.
Oh right, yeah.
So there's a big pharmaceutical company that was around in World War II that made gas masks.
Okay.
They've still got their massive concrete air raid shelters outside the factory.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
There's one in the middle of it's not really an island, it's just, I suppose, just a patch of land, and there's road and houses surrounding it that goes down underneath the road.
Mm.
And there's one off a main road, I think it might be in the centre of town somewhere. So if you're just walking down the street, it's just like a concrete doorway with a wooden door and a for sale sign above it for one of the flats.
Oh right.
Above it. You wouldn't know it was an air raid shelter if you just walk past it. It's just a random door.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's maybe I was going to say a key part, or maybe one of the reasons that me and you like doing history things, because again, people just walk past stuff and they don't know. I think it's the same with war memorials in the villages. Because you just walk past it, you don't really pay much attention to it. Obviously there'll be the Service on Remembrance someday. But yeah, it's the same with these structures. I've only ever come across. There was one. I went on holiday to South Wales last year, and we were on the coast, and I was just wandering about in the sand dunes, and then there was a concrete structure, and I was like, surely that's got to be something World War II related. It looks very typical, it's very square, and it was, kind of the sand had obviously moved over time and stuff. There's only a bit poking out. So it's crazy when you come across things like that. And obviously it being on the coast wasn't necessarily an air raid shelter, will have been coastal defences. But yeah, it's crazy what you can stumble across, isn't it?
There's history everywhere. So I've seen a picture recently of the roadworks digging up London bollards.
Oh right.
And their actual cannons.
Yes. Yeah.
There's just these cannons lying at the side of the road that were half dug into the roads and used as bollards.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I've heard this kind of myth before that their cannons from, I don't know if it's the Battle of Trafalgar.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know which battle necessarily, but it's kind of been, oh, these are from a French ship that we destroyed. Yeah, absolutely. History's everywhere. Yeah.
It's also a fence. It's probably everywhere, but I think again in London, made of old stretchers.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's
there's stuff absolutely everywhere. If everybody got off the phones and looked,
yeah,
you'd see old street signs, old street furniture,
yeah,
all sorts.
yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Absolutely all sorts. So anyway, back to the home front in World War Two. A big thing for the home front was the Blitz. So that ran from September 1940 to May 1941. So do you want to explain the Blitz to the good
Yeah.
people listening?
So yes, if you don't know, the Blitz was basically Germany. It was in the midst of the Battle of Britain, where the Germans decided to switch their tactic of attacking RAF bases and trying to destroy the RAF. They attacked London instead. And if I'm correct, this was actually in response to us actually accidentally bombing, I think it was somewhere in Germany. I can't remember. It was the pilots and or the navigators got confused by a river, and they accidentally bombed a German city. So then the Germans took that as like a big no. So they then changed their strategy. They were like, oh well, you're bombing our cities now, so we're gonna change tactic and we're gonna bomb your civilian population as well. So yes, this was started, if I remember correctly, with London and then kind of spread to other cities. So very famously Coventry, Liverpool, Manchester got hit. And these were areas, it was kind of combination of targeting civilians and depleting morale, and then also infrastructure. So Liverpool with the docks, and yeah, there's always the myth of like stoicism and carrying on and keep calm and carry on, as the saying goes. And the I don't know if there's a famous picture. I have a recollection of like there's a bomb crater and there's someone with like he's delivering milk or something like
Possibly,
that. So yeah, even though the cities were being bombed, we just went, oh well, still got to go to work.
yeah, life carried on. While I
Yeah.
was in amongst the research, I found in the Manchester Blitz, like the following morning sort of thing. One chap said they didn't get the chippy in the pub.
Yes.
So that's just
Yes.
British humour and morale at its finest. That the chip
As
shop and the pub survived the
uh,
bombing.
as a northern lad myself who grew up near Manchester and loves Manchester, I wholeheartedly agree that yeah, you need your chippy tea, and gravy as well. Southerners missing
Nah,
out. What?
nah.
No, you gotta. Is this the end of Foxhole Chat? No more.
Yeah,
No,
that's
you
it.
don't
Well,
like
yeah, we're
gravy.
done. Thank you for everybody
No.
for listening. We're going to sign off now. Bye. I'm technically Southern to you, so I think that's probably where that comes from.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, that perfectly sums up the British mindset, doesn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
we can still have a chippy, we can still have a pint. War's not over, let's carry
Sorted.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you need? Chippy tea and a pint to wash it down
Yeah.
with. So we did put some precautions in during the Blitz. For example, the blackouts. Basically, you couldn't shine any light outside of the building. Lights had to be off if the doors were open, or you could just black out the doors and the windows and then have a light on inside. And it was the ARP wardens that reinforced the rules, so they'll just be wandering around of an evening and put that light out.
Yeah. 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 Which is crazy because growing up, I always wondered like why did they do that? And then you kind of forget that they didn't have GPS, they didn't have radar or anything. It was they were going off maps and intel, and dead reckoning was the way that they would navigate with the bombers back then. So obviously that wouldn't. I don't think that would work nowadays. I think that would be pretty pointless. Well, I don't know. Well,
Well,
go on.
depends. It
What
depends.
would you say?
Depends if the world goes dark. So if we lose all signal
Hmm.
for whatever reason, because I'd like to think a plane would have sat nav or something of some sort now,
Yeah,
so that could just follow that maybe,
yeah,
rather than like following the Thames into the Trent and then like all the way up or something.
yeah. I
I don't
think
know.
I think if there was some kind of like EMP that fried everything,
Mm.
then you would have to revert back to that way of doing things, of relying on maps and dead reckoning. So maybe then, if there was like a complete electrical blackout, then maybe a similar, blackout, with the lights could work. But I remember hearing as well that they didn't really have precautions to start with, so then they started making people wear not reflective, because obviously they didn't have reflective materials back then, but they would wear like white on their cuffs and white on their hats, because there's quite a lot of casualties
Yes.
during the blackout.
Yes, there was a fair few incidents in the darkness.
Yes.
Because my Jeep's got blackout headlights on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So how you've got your normal headlight, so something fitted over the headlight, and then there was just left with a little slit.
Yeah.
So that little slit was basically your headlight,
Yeah.
and it's useless. You can't see anything. You might as well just stick a candle on the bonnet and just use that.
Have you put them on and like put the lights on and
Yeah,
tried it then? Yeah.
yeah. It's not good.
No, I
It's
didn't
not
think it
good.
would be. No.
No. Yeah, then see why they did it,
Yeah.
and I can see why people got run over and had a few incidents as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
So,
imagine.
so obviously left at home with the women and children. So the government put in a evacuee placement. So basically, all the children were sent to the countryside. So a good film of this is Goodnight, Mr. Tom.
Yeah. Yeah.
That shows that um, pretty well, of like the
Yeah.
evacuees and like the countryside life and everything. 1.5 million evacuees were sent to rural areas.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's
That's a lot of kids.
that is a lot, yeah. And
That's a lot.
Good Night, Mr. Tom is a good film. It's a bit sad.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, the little boy has very strict parents, shall we say. And so it is a bit of a tugs on the heartstrings a little bit. But like you said, it does a good job of showing, a little boy who's, because you got to remember, these are children. They don't understand, they might not understand what's going on. Like, why can't I be with my mum and dad, and why do I have to go far away? And similarly for the parents as well, you got to think the if you've got a husband and he's off fighting the war, and then you get your child taken away from you, like that must have been super, super difficult, to then try and keep calm and carry on. Um, you know,
Well, by 1941, almost half of those evacuees returned home.
oh right, okay.
Again, against advice
Yeah.
from the government, but like, no, they're safer in the countryside. Leave them
Mm,
there.
mm,
But yeah, almost half of them had returned back home.
yeah, yeah. I'm
So
not
I thought,
surprised.
yeah. So before the evacuees went, the parents were given a list of the kids, of like things to travel with for the kids.
Mm,
So they had to have a gas mask, underclothes, night clothes, slippers, socks, a toothbrush, a comb, a towel, some soap, a face cloth, a handkerchief, and a warm coat in their little suitcase. So,
no, no iPads, no MP3
no,
players.
no. No phones, so they could look up and see history.
Yeah.
And 38 million respirators, civilian, were made, so gas masks. 38 million.
That's a lot. That's a
That's
lot.
that's an insane number.
Yeah. Obviously, they were never really they were never used, were they? Because the
No?
chemical weapons were never used. Thank God, because
Mm.
they're awful. Yeah, doesn't make the gas masks any better though, because I absolutely hate gas masks. If anyone is of a similar age and is also a sci-fi nerd and watched Doctor Who, the Doctor Who episode, The Empty Child, that thing traumatized me, and
Likewise.
my brother traumatized me with it as well. And I don't think I've watched it since. I genuinely think, and that came out, God, 20, oh, I
It
feel old
must
now.
be 20 odd it must be 20 odd years ago.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a look. But
yeah,
yeah, that also traumatized me.
yeah,
Um, which is not good in this line of work.
yeah.
Um, and we go to a museum in Belgium,
Mm.
and it's got a gas mask section.
Oh no.
I just head
I,
down
yeah,
straight out the other side of that, and it's like, yeah, I'll just wait
yeah,
here for you.
yeah,
It's like, just catch up when you're ready. I'll be here.
yeah. I'd be the
I'm
same. I'd
just
just
tired.
skip that section.
Yeah, I can't deal with it.
Yeah,
Cannot deal with it. 2005.
yeah. I thought so.
So there you go, 21 years ago, and we're still traumatized by it.
Yeah, yeah,
Nightmares for months.
yeah, yeah. God,
And
yeah,
I vowed I'd never get a gas mask, but I now have a gas mask in
yeah.
my collection of militaria. It's a
I remember you did a video, didn't you?
children's Mickey Mouse gas mask. That's going to stay well and truly in the box in the cupboard
Yeah, yeah.
to
Now
keep
you've
it.
made that. Now that you've made that video. Nah, they covered it now. Tick, done.
Yep,
Done that
yeah,
topic.
done that. Don't need to cover it again. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, glad it's not just me that Doctor Who episode traumatized.
No, no.
I, I'd say I'd insert a picture into the photo pack, but I honestly don't think I can.
No,
You
no.
just have to Google that one for yourselves, I'm afraid, people.
Yeah, yeah.
So something that was set up during the Blitz was the Emergency Telephone Bureau.
Okay, I don't know about this.
It was set up in the post office, and it was set up for businesses to make important calls if they're like the phone lines were out in the area, or
Right.
something like if like the building had been bombed and they needed supplies or whatever, they could go to the post office
Hmm.
and make the phone calls they need to do and carry on the war work that they needed to, because they could
Hmm.
make that phone call.
Yeah.
There's the thing of don't use public transport for short journeys, which makes sense and still makes sense today.
Yeah, it does,
Just
doesn't it?
just walk.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose was that the risk of the kind of the risk of the blitz, like you don't want to be on a bus when a bomb falls, or
I think it was a mix of that and like saving fuel and manpower for the
yeah,
war efforts. Like the more people that use the bus, the more buses you're going to have to put on.
yeah,
So the more bus drivers and ticket people you're going to need, and they could be doing something elsewhere for the war effort,
got you.
sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
I quite like the propaganda posters that we made for the home front. So
yeah,
like get the women into the factories,
yeah,
and like the squander bug and careless talk cost lives.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
was dig for victory and
yeah,
make do amend. Like you
yeah,
said earlier, keep calm and carry on.
yeah. Yeah, I've seen one a lot recently. Or well, I saw it when I went to the RAF museum in Cosford. It said where there's tea, there's hope.
Yeah,
Which I love. I thought about
yeah,
buying one.
I could get behind that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Rationing was a massive part
it was. Yeah,
for the
yeah,
home front.
yeah. People nowadays don't know how good we've got it. Having like an egg for a week,
Yeah,
and a stick of butter. to make it last.
Yeah, so I've got the numbers
Go on.
for the rations. So you could have 113 grams of ham and bacon, 227 grams of sugar.
Is this all for a week, by the way?
This is for a week.
Okay.
I
Okay.
will put it into perspective shortly.
Okay.
57 grams of tea, 453 grams of meat, 57 grams of butter, cheese, and lard each, 113 grams of margarine, 3 pints of milk, and 1 fresh egg a
Gosh.
week. If you wanted dry milk, which doesn't actually taste that bad, we take it to reenactments.
Oh yeah.
So we don't have to try and keep fresh milk fresh in the middle of a field. So dried milk's fine. If you want dried milk, you can have 4 pints a week.
Oh.
If you wanted some sweets for the month, you can have 340 grams. And bi-monthly, so every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you wanted dry eggs.
Dry egg? Oh, like powdered eggs.
Powdered eggs.
Yeah.
You could have 12. So like the equivalent of 12 eggs.
Right, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've pulled up a recipe, today's recipe. So it's a Mary Berry recipe for a Victoria sponge.
Oh God. Oh no,
so
here we go.
She wants 4 eggs. So bear in mind, you could only have 1 a week. So that's a month's worth of eggs.
Yeah.
225 grams of sugar. And you could have 227. So you had 2 grams. 2 grams left over of sugar. You might as well just put the whole lot in at that point.
Yeah.
225 grams of self-raising flour. Now, flour wasn't rationed.
Oh, right. Okay.
Until about 1946, along with bread.
Yeah.
It got scarce the more the war went on, but it wasn't rationed until 1946. So you can have flour. Baking powder was the same as flour. And 225 grams of baking spread. So that's like your margarine and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you could only have 113 grams. So you needed 2 weeks of margarine, a month's worth of eggs, just to make a Victoria sponge.
Victoria sponge, yeah. Which is delicious, but does not provide the nutritional value that you need to build a Spitfire, build an Anderson shelter, and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's crazy. And if you don't know, so rationing came in because obviously resources were scarce, and the Atlantic convoys, bring in resources that, well, all the resources that were coming into the UK obviously were kind of strangled really with what was happening in the war. The U-boats in the Atlantic were having an effect on this, and the amount of shipping that was sunk throughout the war is beggars belief. So rationing was a necessary cause, unfortunately. And was there rationing on clothing as well? From what I remember.
So clothing was rationed in 1941. Petrol was rationed in 1939. Soap in 1942. So I think pretty much like your daily basics, everything was rationed. And the last thing to come out of rationing after the war was meat. But that didn't come out of rationing until 1954.
Oh, that's mental. I was just thinking then, because my girlfriend's dad, he was born in the 50s, and he's still going strong, fit as ever. And I think he was born, around that time. So he would have been had a little bit of rationing still, and that's insane.
Yeah, 1954, the last thing came on rationing. So that's how much of an impact the Arctic convoys had on the home front.
Yeah, and you got to remember, like, extending it past the home front here, like the soldiers suffered rationing as well, on K rations, and I think it was Malta as well when that was really under siege. Like, they had to really stretch the food out there because supplies weren't getting in. So rationing was a common theme everywhere during the Second World War.
And back home, you was only allowed 5 inches of bath water.
5 inches?
Yeah,
Oh God.
that's like for the whole family.
Oh, people forget that, don't they? People forget the smell that must have been around, like, because well, nobody had deodorant wasn't invented back then.
Mm.
And then so, like you said, soap was rationed as well. But yeah, God, so that was a lot of whoever got in the bath first was the cleanest, and whoever got in last
Yeah.
was not exactly clean.
No, a lot of people helped during the Blitz and during the home front. So you had the fire guards. So every business building had to have a fire guard who would basically sit on the roof and watch for fire.
Yeah, yeah,
So Germany had a thing of dropping incendiary bombs. And for those that don't know, incendiary bombs literally just cause a fire. So they'll drop through the roof, land somewhere, and then ignite and just set the whole place alight,
yeah. They're uh,
basically.
they're like sticks, aren't they? Are they sticks
Yeah,
from what I remember? Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. So literally just a tube with some fins on the end and that caught fire. So you'd have your fire guards, the ARP, which we've already mentioned, your air raid precaution people. So they had managed the blackouts, distribute the gas masks, coordinating responses to like a bombed out building. So making sure fire brigade are there and there's first aiders and everything as well. So
yeah.
they played a massive part in the day-to-day running of the Blitz. So if
Absolutely.
you've seen Dad's Army, it's the easiest way to do show the world. The ARP warden is Hodges, who was a greengrocer. So a greengrocer by day and RAP warden by night.
Yeah, yeah. Great show, amazing show.
Yes, it is good. You had the auxiliary fire service. They were volunteers that helped the regular fire service. So when the incendiary bombs did come down and the fire guards caught a fire, they'd ring the fire service. The auxiliary fire service later became the national fire service. It all just sort of blended into one at one
Yeah.
point. And the local defence volunteers, which later became the Home Guard.
Yes, yeah, very, very famous from Dad's Army, and these were the older gentlemen, shall we say, who obviously weren't of an age and a fitness to be conscripted or volunteer for military service. Because obviously, what we forget is, so you've got the blitz going on, you've got rationing, and then you've got the threat of invasion. We didn't know if what was going to happen next. People were frightened to death of looking up and there being German paratroopers, Fallschirmjäger, dropping from the skies. And if I'm remembering correctly, supplies were that short, especially after Dunkirk, that the Home Guard or LDV, they were literally training with like sticks, and they didn't have weapons till much later because of the restrictions and how tight things were.
Yeah, so they started off with sticks.
Yeah,
There wasn't enough weapons or uniform to go around, and then when the local defence force became the Home Guard, that's when they started getting proper kit in, because eventually there was 1.5 million men in the Home Guard. Yeah, like you said, they were getting ready for invasion. They helped with bomb disposal, manning the anti-aircraft guns, coastal artillery, and I didn't realise 1,206 of them were killed on duty,
oh wow, no, I didn't know that
or
either.
like died of their injuries.
Right, yeah.
So I guess that was probably from unexploded bombs and
Yeah,
bits and
yeah,
pieces like that.
yeah. I imagine so. Yeah, like occupational hazards, like they might have been on duty um, during a bombing or something like that, and they were caught in the crossfire, unfortunately.
Mhm. The Home Guard was stood down on the 3rd of December 1944.
Yeah, yeah. That kind of makes
So
sense, doesn't it?
where were the Allies in December 44? The
This,
Battle of the Bulge.
yes.
So you're talking Belgium border, Holland border. So couldn't get to England too easily
No,
from
no.
there. So they did their bit.
I bet that was a massive relief actually, just thinking about it now. Like, you've had all these years of kind of being on edge, and maybe thinking, oh, can we win? Are we gonna win? So then to get to December 44, it must have been a massive relief. The same as when
Yeah.
the Blitz ended. I'm sure that was a massive relief as well.
See, the Blitz ended, but then you had stuff like the V1 rocket, the V2s,
True, very
and
true.
everything as well. So I don't, the the constant bombing of the Blitz stopped, but the
Mm.
bombing didn't.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So there was, yeah, that was constant.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, there was the Women's Voluntary Service. So, as it says in the title, that's the women that volunteered to help do bits and pieces. They were running rest centres, helping evacuees, managing the canteens, on the salvage front. So, any paper and metal that needed for the war effort, they would go around collecting it and making sure that goes to where it needed to be. They helped knitted essentials for the soldiers, so socks and jumpers and bits and pieces as well. There was 1 million members
Wow.
of the Women's Voluntary Service, also assisted by the Women's Institute, the WI as well. So it's all the women banding together for the home front.
Yeah, absolutely. When you were saying that about they helped gather things and kind of make sure they got to where they needed, there's a very famous kind of initiative to gather like spare like saucepans and spare like metal, wasn't it? And it was on the proviso that this metal is going to be melted down and used to make aircraft, when actually if I'm remembering correctly, it was just a big propaganda thing, because you can't make a Spitfire out of saucepans. I mean, well, you probably could, but it wouldn't last very long. So I think that was a good thing to kind of focus people on something, and get them involved in something so they feel like they're contributing. I swear I've seen kind of footage of like children like dragging pots and pans to like a big like what's the word I'm looking for, like truck or something like that, and they're
Mm.
they're throwing it in. And yeah, because you got to, like I said before, keep the morale up and keep people happy, haven't you?
Yep. Then the metal collection was, I think the idea behind it would be to like melt the saucepans and the metal gates and everything into bits and pieces for Spitfires, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The Women's Land Army played a role. Um, there was two branches of the Women's Land Army, like the farming front. So they did all the agricultural stuff, looking after the livestock, ploughing the fields, driving the tractors. Then there was the Timber Corps as well.
Okay, I don't know. I did not know about this bit.
So they worked in forests, funnily enough, because then chopping down trees and clearing forest, because the timber was needed for mine shafts
Yeah.
and like telegraph poles
Mm. Mm.
and stuff. I did think about reenacting about of the land army at one point,
Oh yeah,
but decided on a war correspondent instead.
yeah. I mean, it's still an important part of it, because again, most of the men, sorry, are off fighting, so you're going to need people to tend to the crops and grow the as much food as you can, as possible. Which I don't know if this is in your notes or research, but obviously, like, people were encouraged, like with the Dig for Victory post that you said about before, people were encouraged to grow their own vegetables. And there's the old propaganda thing where we get the thing of, oh, eat your carrots so you can see better. That came from the Second World War, if you didn't know. And it was kind of a myth that just carried on for years and years and years, and still persists today.
Yeah, there was lots of like services that supported the home front. So you've got the ATS, the Auxiliary Territorial Service, the Red Cross, the Air Transport Auxiliary, the Mechanised Transport Corps. So there's loads of different jobs for all types of skills. left home.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like I said before, it gave people purposes and meant they could contribute. Because I think, obviously, I don't know, but a lot of people back then wanted to contribute. You know, and I mean, look at the ATA, the Air Transport Auxiliary. So if you don't know, that's basically where women, mainly women, from what I know, they once the aircraft were produced, they would then fly them to the operational, either the training units or the RAF bases. Um, and they would fly everything from, you know, the Hurricanes to the Spitfires, you know, because again, the men were fighting, so you've got women there as a resource, and as long as they're willing, you know. And there's the very famous Mary Ellis is a very famous ATA pilot, and she signed the inside of the door of the Spitfire, and then they made a documentary, and years later it was this Spitfire that she saw fly in, and she signed it again, which I think is an amazing story.
I think that's all I've got. Anything to add from you?
Well, in terms of the home front, there's actually near where I live, in Llandudno, there's a really amazing museum. We'll put a picture up in the Instagram photo pack and the video. It's called the Homefront Museum, and it does what it says on the tin. So it describes like the home front in general, and a little bit about how it was in here in North Wales. Um, and it's an amazing museum. They've got all sorts from, like, there's a big cabinet display of like period food and items like Gillette razors and shaving cream and stuff like that, to then other bits of like crashed aircraft parts as well. I think they've got a wheel from an aircraft. I can't remember which one. Um, but that's an amazing museum. So if you're ever in the North Wales area, I would definitely highly recommend visiting it. So it's probably only like a couple of quid to get in. And yeah, super interesting little museum. And yeah, the home front is maybe sometimes forgotten about, you know, because again, we focus on this, you know, tank battle happened, and you know, this fighting took place here. So yeah, it's been good to go through it and cover it.
I'm sure there's still stuff that we haven't covered, as usual. So if you want us to look into something specific from the home front, again, drop us a comment, a message, or anything, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
So that's us signing off for this week. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. See you next week.